Okay, now we just learned about definite articles, and now I'm going to talk about indefinite articles. What's an indefinite article in English? Does anybody know? A student. Instead of the student, now we say a student. Instead of saying the house, the specific house, we say a house, right? A house, a student. Now that's the English. Now let's look what it is in German. I'm going to give you the original der, die, das again, so you know the gender. Der, remember, was called masculine, die was the feminine, and das was the neuter noun. Okay. Now, if we don't want to be so specific, we use the indefinite article, yeah? So instead of saying der Mann, we say ein Mann. Yeah, look over there, there's a guy eating lunch or whatever, yeah? Ein Mann. Instead of saying die Frau, there's a specific person we're talking about, we say, oh, there is a woman over there. Eine Frau. Now you see the ein borrows the e from the die word. Eine Frau. If you're talking about the child, yeah, das Kind, that's a specific child. But if we talk about any old child that's sitting somewhere playing with the ball, we would say ein Kind. So what do you notice here? The indefinite articles. We have two of them, right? We have three definite articles, der, die, das, but we only have two versions of the indefinite article. Ein, ein. So the der word becomes ein, the das word becomes ein. The only one that's different is the die word that adds an e. So die, eine Frau. Later on you'll realize how important it is that you know whether a word is a der, die, and das word. And when you learn vocabulary, you've got to learn the der, die, das with it. Unfortunately, you cannot always tell whether it's a der, die, das word. Like in other languages, you just have to learn it as if it were one word. Der Mann, die Frau, das Haus, das Auto, der Computer. Yeah, you just have to learn the der, die, das. That's one of the hardest things in German, I think. Learning what gender a word is, because that influences a lot of the grammar we learn later on. Okay, so der Mann, die Frau, das Kind. If we say der Computer, talking about a thing, how do we say a computer? We say ein Computer, right? The der word becomes ein. If we say die Tasche, the bag, and we want to use an indefinite article, what do we say? Eine, correct. Eine Tasche. And if we say das Haus, and we talk about a house, how do we say it? Ein Haus, correct. Das becomes ein. Alright, so remember, three definite articles, but only two indefinite. Ein, und eine. Okay, now, we are usually very positive and upbeat, right? But sometimes we want to be negative. And we want to say, oh, that's not a man, that's a child. Or that's not a car, that's a bicycle. Now, how do we make an ein word negative? It's very easy. So, we have a man standing there, right? But we decide, no, that's not a man, that's a child. So we put the letter K in front and it makes it negative. Kein Mann. And it means not a man or no man. If we have eine Frau and we want to make it negative, or we're talking about a bag, say that's not a bag, that's a wallet. So we have the eine. What do? We put the K in front and make it negative. Keine. And the same for if we have das, a das word, das Haus, ein Haus. Oh, that's not a house. That's just a room or whatever. So you see, the letter K in front of an ein word makes the word negative. Alright? Now, Are there any questions? How would you say, remember the word Vorlesung? If you say that you do not have a lecture. Remember the word Vorlesung? What was it? It was a feminine noun, right? Die Vorlesung. And you are going to say you do not have one. So what is the next step you have to do? You have to know that the D word becomes eine, right? And we use indefinite articles. And then we learned, in order to make that noun negative, we add a K in front of it. Keine Vorlesung. And that's how we would say, I have no lecture. Ich habe keine Vorlesung. All right, that's it for that.